Let me ask you something weird. If I offered you $2 right now, would you even bend down to pick it up off the sidewalk? Be honest. Most people wouldn't. $2 feels like nothing. It's less than a coffee. It's the change you leave in your car cup holder for months. It's the tip you feel slightly embarrassed leaving. But here's the strange part. That same $2 has the power to completely change your life by the time you're old enough to retire. And I'm not being dramatic. I'm going to show you the math in a minute, and it's going to feel almost illegal how simple it is. The reason nobody talks about this isn't because it's a secret. It's because it sounds too small to matter. And that right there is the psychological trap that keeps most people broke their entire lives. So stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens if you invest just $2 a day, why your brain refuses to believe it works, and the one shift in thinking that separates people who build wealth from people who spend their whole lives wondering where the money went. Let's start with the problem, because you've heard this before, right? Start investing early. Time is your greatest asset. Compound interest is magic. You've scrolled past it 100 times. Some finance guy in a suit says it on a podcast. Your uncle mentions it at Thanksgiving, and every time you hear it, your brain does this thing where it goes, yeah, I know. I'll start when I make more money. That sentence right there, that's the killer. That's the belief that costs people hundreds of thousands of dollars over their lifetime. Because here's what nobody tells you. The people who wait until they make more money almost never start. Their expenses grow with their income. They get a raise, and suddenly they need a nicer apartment. They get a bonus, and suddenly they need a new car. The finish line keeps moving. And underneath all of this is a psychological glitch that we all share. Our brains are terrible at understanding small numbers over long periods of time. We can picture $1,000 right now. We cannot picture what a few dollars a day becomes over 30 years. It just doesn't compute. So we dismiss it, we wait, we tell ourselves we'll get serious later. But later is the most expensive word in personal finance. Okay, let me actually show you what $2 a day does, because until you see the numbers, none of this feels real. $2 a day is $60 a month. That's it. That's less than most people spend on streaming subscriptions they forgot they signed up for. That's one takeout meal you skip. That's a couple of coffees you make at home instead of buying at the drive-thru. Now, if you take that $60 a month and just park it in a boring, basic S&P 500 index fund, which has historically averaged around 10% a year over the long run, here's what happens. After 10 years, you'd have around $12,000. Not life-changing, but you put in $7,000 and got 12. Not bad. After 20 years, that number jumps to roughly $45,000. After 30 years, you're looking at around $136,000. And after 40 years, that same $2 a day turns into about $379,000. Read that again. Almost $400,000 from $2 a day. The amount you wouldn't pick up off the sidewalk. Now here's the part that breaks people's brains. You didn't put in $400,000. Over 40 years, you only put in about $29,000 of your own money. The other $350,000, that came from the money your money made while you were sleeping, eating, arguing with your roommate about the dishes, going on vacation, watching Netflix. It just grew in the background. That's compounding. And the reason it feels like magic is because it kind of is. Here's the metaphor that finally made this click for me. Imagine you roll a snowball down a hill. At first, it's tiny, barely picks up any snow. You almost wonder why you bothered. But as it keeps rolling, it starts picking up more snow, and because it's bigger now, it picks up even more snow with every rotation. By the time it's at the bottom of the hill, it's this massive boulder. Your money works the exact same way. In year 1, $2 a day feels pointless. In year 5, it's still not that impressive. But somewhere around year 15 or 20, something shifts. The gains you make in a single year start to be bigger than what you actually contributed that year. Your money is now doing more work than you are. And once that flips, the growth becomes unstoppable. But here's the catch. You cannot skip the boring part. The snowball has to be small before it can be big. And this is where almost everyone quits. They start investing, they check their account after 6 months, they see they've made like $11 in gains, and they think, this is stupid. What's the point? The point is that you're not investing for 6 months. You're investing for the version of you who's sitting on a porch at 55, 60, 65, wondering how the time went by so fast. Now let me hit you with the deeper insight. Because this isn't really a video about $2. This is a video about how you relate to time. Most people think wealth is about income, how much you make, what your job pays, whether you can find a side hustle, and yeah, income matters. But there's something more important than income, and almost nobody talks about it. It's your relationship with delayed gratification. Wealthy people, the quiet kind, not the flashy kind, tend to have one thing in common. They can look at something small today and see something big tomorrow. They can put $60 a month into an account and not touch it for 30 years because their brain can hold on to the future in a way that most people's brains can't. That's not a personality trait. That's a skill. And you can train it. There's this famous psychology study you might have heard of, the marshmallow test. They put a kid in a room with a marshmallow and told them, if you can wait 15 minutes without eating this, we'll give you 2. The kids who could wait ended up doing better in life on almost every measurable outcome. Grades, income, relationships, health, everything. That test wasn't really about marshmallows. It was about whether you could see something that wasn't in front of you yet and let it guide your decisions in the present. Investing $2 a day is the adult version of that test. It looks small, it feels small, and your brain will scream at you that it doesn't matter, that you should just spend it, that you deserve the coffee, that you'll start next year when things settle down. The people who win financially are the ones who learn to ignore that voice. Not through willpower, but through automation. They set it up once, they forget about it, and they let time do the heavy lifting. So here's what I want you to actually take from this. First, stop waiting for the perfect amount. There is no perfect amount. There's just whatever you can start with today. If $2 a day feels doable, start with $2 a day. If it's 5, do 5. If it's 1, do 1. The number is way less important than the fact that you started. Second, automate it. Don't rely on yourself to remember. Don't rely on willpower. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to a brokerage account or a retirement account like a Roth IRA. Pick a simple, low-cost index fund. Turn it on. Walk away. The whole point is to make it so boring and invisible that you forget it's even happening. Third, and this is the big one, reframe how you think about small amounts of money. Every time you see $2, $3, $5, I want you to stop thinking about what it can buy today. Start thinking about what it can become. Because that latte isn't just a latte. That subscription isn't just a subscription. Every small dollar you spend is a future dollar you're deleting from your life. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy things. Please enjoy your life. Buy the coffee sometimes. But do it with awareness. Do it knowing exactly what you're trading. Here's the thing I keep coming back to. The wildest part about all of this isn't the money. It's the realization that the version of you 30 years from now already exists. They're just waiting to see what you decide. Every day you don't start, you're voting for a future where they have to work longer, worry more, and feel that specific kind of quiet regret that comes from knowing they could have started sooner. And every day you do start, even with something as small and silly sounding as $2, you're sending them a gift. A small one at first, then a bigger one, then eventually one big enough to change everything. $2 a day, the amount you wouldn't pick up off the sidewalk, the amount that could quietly, slowly, almost invisibly buy you your freedom. The only question is whether you're willing to start today when it feels like it doesn't matter. Because that's the whole secret. It only works for the people who begin before they believe. Thanks for sticking with me all the way to the end. If this shifted something for you, subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.